Start this guy.
Hello and welcome to another Tech Talk with Ricky here from Rickydees Productions. My name is Ricky and today we're going to be talking about the Samsung Unpacked event. Specifically is what we're going to be talking about. Nothing really outside of that, but specifically the Note 10. The Note 10 Plus, and why I actually am not a big fan of these devices. The Galaxy Watch Active 2, they talked about it. The Tab S6, they talked about it. And more importantly than all of these is actually the Galaxy Book S, which I think is the most crucial instrument for Samsung to take over the world. Okay, so I don't like the Note 10 that much. I have an S10, and I've had the S line since the S6. I have a Galaxy Watch Active. I have Galaxy Buds. I have a Samsung TV, and I'm a big fan of Samsung. I'm not someone call me, a bit of a whore for Samsung, and I definitely do like them, but I can also be crucial of them. And I don't always think that my S10 is the best phone out there, but I think it's the best option for me. I do not like the Note 10. The Note 10 Plus, on the other hand, is a pretty good device. Okay, so yes, there's going to be two different devices, and we already knew about this. I even talked about it in my last video, but it's going to be a 6.2-inch device and a 6.8-inch device. Now, with the S10 and the S10 Plus, while they were different devices and there was different features, I didn't feel like there was such a big variance between them. The only one I really felt there was a big variance between was the S10e with the 1080p display. And guess what they did here? They gave the Note 10, which is a $950 device. And guess what they did here? They made a $950 device have a 1080p display. But my Galaxy S10, which is $750 or $850, that thing is got a 1440 display. The Note 10 Plus has a 1440 display as well, and it's just like a big slap in the face. It's not even like a size thing. You took out my fucking headphone jack. What are you doing out there? You have a bigger display than what's on my S10. What is going on here? Why is there a 1080p display? Now, I've always said that a 1440 display isn't like the be all end all. It's like I can deal with a 1080p display. Sometimes I have my S10 at a 1080p display to save battery. But my biggest qualm here is it's the same thing as taking out the headphone jack. I don't gain anything from you doing that. It's still an expensive phone, and there's not a headphone jack in there to fit in there. So it's like, what's going on here? I don't like that at all. And if you're going for the Note 10, you're probably going for that bigger size. You probably want that Note 10 Plus. So at this point, what's the point of the Note 10? They specifically said for people who want a Note that want a smaller size, and that was the stupidest comment I ever heard in my life. This is a Note. People buy it for the size. It's one of its most notable things. It was the first big phone. People are here for the size. Not really here for the pen, and there's not much difference between the S10. So what are you doing here? No one's necessarily at a Note because, I really needed that pen. Anyways, that's my rant about the 1080p display. That's not good. No headphone jack, of course, on both of them, which is not a good thing. And apparently doesn't come with a dongle, which doesn't make me any happier. Another thing that's different is the depth vision camera. It's specifically only on the Plus. It's a 3D scanning camera. I'll talk about it a little bit more here in a bit. And then another difference is 8 gigs of RAM versus 12 gigs of RAM. I don't care that much. On a phone, it's not necessarily that big of a difference. I cared more about on the Tab S6 just because you would be running something like Dex, which is more desktop oriented, and you would need more power from that. But on a phone, to be honest, 8 gigs I think is great. I think if you're going for 12, OnePlus does 16, I think at this point. I don't know, they just keep wanting more and more, and at one point you just don't use it, so okay, that's great, I guess. If I was going for a Note 10, the reason that's detracting me from buying one is the 1080p display, not that it's 8 gigs of RAM. So let's move on to the new stuff. The big thing they really focused on during the event was the S Pen, bringing gestures. This is due to a 6-axis motion sensor.
6-axis motion sensor.
Which just allows you to do different gestures. So I believe during it they showed a couple different ones. You could do like this to switch it between the front and the back camera when it's on a tripod or something. I think they're cool. I just don't think anyone's actually going to get any use of it. They're kind of, I mean, what? No one uses gestures. No one ever really wants gestures. The only gesture I use on my S10 is that I can go like this for a screenshot, and I rarely ever use that. One thing that I do think is interesting, though, is that there will be an SDK for the S Pen and all their motion gestures. So that if that actually does grow and people do develop on that, then I actually do think this will be an actually really interesting thing, just because you can introduce, I don't even know what you could do. I mean, but someone will come up with something cool that you'd be able to do, and that would actually be worth it. Another new thing is that there is no Bixby button on this phone. So it's just your power button and your 2 volume buttons. Unfortunately, that doesn't mean that Bixby is gone, which is what everyone wants. I don't know anyone that uses Bixby. I personally don't. I actually have it turned off, and anytime I accidentally turn it on, I get mad. This time, they made it easier to turn it on. You can click and hold the Bixby button, or sorry, you can click and hold your power button, which is now technically your Bixby button, and it'll bring it up. It just makes it harder to, turn off your phone. You have to go through the notification settings, or not, sorry, the notification drawer. I don't like that. I don't want to do that. That's gross, to be honest. I really don't want to do that. And Bixby just more, they keep on trying to push Bixby, and it's like, I swear no one uses Bixby. I've never seen anyone use Bixby in my whole entire life. So one of the bigger things is that they are introducing bokeh into video, so you can have your background out of focus, your foreground in focus, just like, portrait mode from your iPhones and stuff. Really cool feature, actually. I think people will actually use this, so I'm actually really excited about that one. That one's really cool. Another thing is Super SETI. The thing they showed at the event didn't make any sense. It showed someone holding a camera, and they were walking up steps following someone, and at one point the camera isn't capturing that person, but in the Super SETI it was capturing that person. So that doesn't really make any sense. It's probably more just going to be like a pixel type of thing, where the borders of the video, that way it looks a little bit more steady. I'm all for that. That was one of my favorite features of the Pixel, actually. They just need to stop exaggerating what it can actually do. Another cool thing is AI Doodle. This is available on both. It seems really cool. Basically, it's all just AR. So you can just like make a little drawing, and then you can see it through your phone. I think they're pretty cool if they're shareable. If I can't share it, then I don't. Who's going to use this if you're only going to be able to see your own animations? I want to just see other people's stuff. That'd be cool. Like if you just go into a random place. I mean, they have to moderate it somehow, but it'd be cool. Like if you go into an area and then you can like download what like other people have left there. That's really cool. So another cool thing is the 3D camera for scanning. And that's only on the Note 10 Plus. They scan in this little character, and then you can animate it and do different things. But it's actually a 3D scan. You can even 3D print the scan that you scanned, which is pretty cool. I don't know if anyone will actually use this, but I think it's a really cool feature, and I'm actually happy to see it. So out of everything I've talked about today, the actual only thing I care about the Note 10, since I'm not a big fan of the device, is that it's going to have the thing that like every other device has moved on to and has been moving on with. But the S6 just kind of decided, or was it the S7? I can't remember at this point. They just decided to stick with the same thing. Fast charging 2.0 is like about 5 years old or something at this point. They're finally moving what they're calling super fast charging. So it's up to 45 watts that your phone can charge through cord. And that's pretty good, actually. That's faster than the turbocharger from OnePlus. So if it's actually 45 watts from the charger that comes in the box, that's really cool. But it is up to 45 watts. And they're also introducing fast wireless charging 2.0. So fast wireless charging is already pretty good, in my opinion. It's a little bit faster than just regular charging through a cord. So I'm excited to see fast wireless charging 2.0. That's going to be really cool. And I think that's actually like the biggest benefit this phone brings out of everything. I mean, it's kind of a shitty phone compared to that. No, not really. But I'm just not a fan. There will also be a 5G variant, just like there was with the S10. It's going to have 5G. It's probably going to be a little bit better. I don't think there was that much of a difference, but it's going to be more expensive. The prices are $950 for the Note 10, which is a ripoff. Don't buy that. And $1,100 for the Note 10 Plus. Very expensive devices. like I said, don't buy the $950 one. If you're going to be buying the $1,100 one, go for that one. If you're going for a Note, go for the Plus. Because obviously you want the size because you're getting a Note, and you don't want a shittier device, like a straight up shittier device. So go with the $1,100 one, the Note 10 Plus. I know it's going to be some big bucks for people who are dropping it, but I know there's like a couple promotions. You can get like $150 Samsung accessory credit. There's like up to $700 in trade-ins I saw from Best Buy. So definitely ways to get that. Obviously, you're all going to finance it anyway, so it doesn't matter. And I already talked about the headphone jack, actually, so I'm not going to go into that again. No dongle, by the way. I don't know what that leak was then, so that's weird. The Galaxy Watch Active 2. That was also talked about. It was announced like a couple days before that. It's boring. That's really all I have to say. I have a Galaxy Watch Active on my hand. It's just like thinner. There is one cool thing is that the old Samsung watches you could rotate at the bezel. That's back. But not an actual rotating bezel. It's actually just like, just tracks your finger. And it's whatever. I think it's so boring. There's an Under Armour version. It's like $250 or something like that. It's a boring device, but if you don't have the Watch Active and you want to get one, then go for the Watch Active 2 because it'll be the new one. And then the Galaxy Book S. This was the randomest announcement of my life. Really wasn't expecting this one. So it's a really thin laptop that runs Windows on a Qualcomm mobile processor with LTE. Qualcomm and Windows, that's weird. Yeah, they call it like a 5CE processor. I hope it runs well. It's really like really thin, and it looks really good. Actually, it looks like a MacBook. It's basically Samsung's MacBook at this point. It's $1,000, and it does have LTE capability, which is really cool. I actually do think like every laptop should have that already. I always think it's kind of weird because it's a laptop. I'm going to be traveling with it. I don't want a hotspot to give it, data. It should have its own. So that's really cool. It's also really meant for productivity, so it's kind of weird. Like, the Tab S6 isn't as expensive as it, but it's like the Tab S6 is really pushing DeX and all its productivity stuff. So it's just kind of a weird mix there. The Galaxy Book S, though, if you're wanting a nice-looking laptop and you're wanting Windows and you're wanting a Samsung one, I guess, I mean, they're really good options, so definitely check those out. I think that's everything. Galaxy Unpacked kind of sucked because I don't like the Note 10, but I mean, it's up to you guys. I looked back at on Swapper.com. I looked back at the Note 5 because it was like, I really liked that device when it came out, and I was like, that was a really nice device. Headphone jack, big display, fingerprint sensor, no exploding phones at all. And it was before the big change to the curved screen and everything. So you set a flat screen, about $100 if you want to go for kind of a busted up one, but $180 if you're going for a newer one. I just think that's just funny because it's like that one's one of my most favorite Note devices, and then you times it by 2, and then you get one of my least favorite Note devices, which is the Note 10. Yeah, but that's about it. If you guys have any comments or want to fight with me in the thing down there, I will respond. Probably. Still have to get back to that one guy. Anyways, see you in the next one.